Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining today. We are here today to make your work easier. This is Workiz Easy in partnership with PHCC. I'm here with Taylor. Taylor, how the heck are you?
Girl, I'm good. It's been busy, and so I am really excited to see how I can make my work easier.
Yes, I know. We've all been working like crazy just with, the world being nuts right now, the pandemic continuing to be ongoing. And I know that it's hard right now to find labor. So for those of you watching, if you're understaffed, if you're looking to hire, things like that, you're probably a little scattered right now. So we don't blame you, but we'll try to make this short, quick, and to the point and helpful for you and your industry. So really quick, just before we dive in, I'm Melisa Meral. I'm a partner development manager here at Workiz. We're actually based locally in San Diego, right in Kearny Mesa. We have a team of about 60 people, and we're a field service management software platform. So this is what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk all about productivity, time management, organization. So really why time is of the essence, talk about productivity versus just being busy. Talk about income producing activities. So IPAs, not all the fluffy, frothy stuff that's not actually moving the needle forward in your business. The 80-20 rule, which some of you may have heard about, we're going to dive into that. Smarter goals. So not just SMART goals, but smarter goals, and KPIs, key performance indicators. Talk a little bit about working smarter, not harder, the power of focus, and then have some final thoughts. So let's dive right on in. Time is of the essence. Taylor, do you have like morning and evening routines? Do you set schedules and expectations, or what does that look like for you?
I try with my kind of schedule here at the PHCC. I'm hosting events and helping out, where I can with the academy. And so I'm kind of in and out at different hours. However, I do try to do a couple things each day to like keep it routine as much as possible. I make sure I walk my dog in the morning after his feeding just to get some like fresh air and some activity. And then at night, I definitely like to have a cup of hot tea before I go to bed. So those are definitely like two miniature kind of routines that I guarantee myself if I can't do other things that I like to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I like to call these bookends to your day. So morning routines, evening routines. How are you setting yourself up for success as a business owner? Are you, snoozing your alarm 12 times and then you're scrambling to get to the truck or get to the office or get to the first customer's house? Are you going to bed way too late, knowing that you're going to be exhausted because you binge watched a whole Netflix season the night before, or,
TikTok?
Right, you stayed up too late on Instagram or whatever it is. The other thing too that I want to say about evening routines is a lot of us get sucked into this blue light, right, where we're constantly feeding our brain information, we're raising our cortisol levels, we're getting angry at Facebook comments, we're doing all this stuff that's not necessarily benefiting our rest as a business owner or as an employee, right? So we want to make sure that we're bookending our day, whatever that looks like for you, to keep yourself successful. Think about the things that you're looking at before you go to bed and as you're waking up. Are you checking the news first thing, or are you checking your daily devotional or your whatever, your notes of like what you want to accomplish that day, or like maybe listening to a helpful business entrepreneurship podcast, things like that. We're really just thinking about setting your day up for success and then winding your day down for success. The other thing here too is setting a schedule and expectations so that you can prevent decision fatigue. So Taylor, have you heard of this term, decision fatigue? Do you know what it is?
I can only assume, and I've definitely experienced it.
So decision fatigue is basically, as business owners and as just people in general with jobs and with busy lives and families and kids and all the things, our brains are really only wired to be able to make a certain number of decisions daily. So think of your day as like a container, right? And you have maybe like a mason jar. You have a jar and that's your day, and 24 hours is in it, and your brain can only make that many decisions in a 24-hour period. So this is why At the end of the night, we see a lot of people going to the fridge, snacking on junk food, things where our brains just literally can't make those decisions for us anymore. They can't say, hey, Taylor, you're not hungry, stop going to the fridge. Or they can't say, hey, Melissa, turn the TV off. You don't need to watch another Netflix episode. So the point as a business owner and employee is really to get yourself on a productive schedule, which we'll talk about here in a second, so that you prevent decision fatigue, so that you don't actually reach that point.
Wow. So it's almost like when you limit yourself, it's almost more beneficial than, overexerting kind of your decision-making skills. What a great also excuse. I need to clock out for the day. I'm at my quota of decisions.
Right. I'm good. I've made my bucket of decisions for the day. Yeah. And
it's empty.
It's hard as a business owner because, we are the chief everything officer, right? The CEO, not just the chief executive officer, but really the chief everything officer. So you're wearing all these different hats, you're running around, you're putting out fires. And so it is really important to book in that day so that you're setting yourself up for success in the morning, doing the things that matter, and then winding down for the evening so that you can, be a productive human being.
I love that.
So question for you, for those of you watching, are you being productive or are you just being busy? So again, with like the chief everything officer idea, there's definitely a lot to keep track of in the plumbing and HVAC fields, right? There's jobs, there's scheduling, you're invoicing, you're trying to collect payments from people, you're managing your techs, you're dealing with people quitting or calling out sick or not clocking in correctly, or God forbid, stealing from you on the job or whatever. You're working with clients, obviously, as your number one customer experience. You're answering phone calls, you're texting customers, all the things. Like, it can be really a lot to keep track of. So that being said, I really love time blocking versus having more loose calendar structures. Like sort of knowing, on that same note as morning and evening routines, knowing when my productive hours are as a business owner, knowing how to time block my day so that I'm making sure I'm fueling my body, I'm eating breakfast, I'm taking a lunch, I'm walking my dog if I have to, like you said, right? So what have you done, Taylor, as far as like any sort of time blocking or keeping a calendar?
So what I like to do is, because I do, wear many different hats, and it's funny that you say that, because there are days, at the end of the day where I feel like I was so busy, but then I go, what did I get done, sort of thing. And then there are other days where I'm like, I was so productive today. So there is that difference, and I definitely feel it. And I think I feel it when I set an expectation the day before and I write out, what I need to do. And then what I'll do is I'll make sure that each of the tasks, so obviously members, I'll do, what I call member Mondays. And so all the things that need to be addressed for as far as membership, new members, answering questions from current members, all that stuff gets done on Mondays. And then I will kind of like schedule my week based on these different member Monday is the cutest one that I have. Everything else doesn't really have an alliteration, but I basically compartmentalize them by what I need to do.
Well, and even just like within PHCC, you like, without a doubt, you're sending those Friday, recaps, like newsletters and things like that, where if these are standing things on your calendar, like say you're in the plumbing industry and you know that you need to follow up on your invoices, and you know that like Fridays are a good day to do that, or maybe like Mondays are a good day to go back in and follow up with all those clients that called you last week, but never actually booked the service, things like that. Where do you have, the capacity, start thinking about this, to time block your day with those things that need to get done. So like Taylor batching anything member related to Mondays, like she knows that, okay, I'm not going to get distracted with these 5,000 things I need to do. I know that Monday is my designated day, or I know that this hour on my calendar on Fridays is my designated time. So start thinking about that. And then the other thing too is paper calendars versus digital scheduling automation. So obviously we're in the digital age. Hopefully you're still not running your whole business off of pen and paper, sticky notes, whiteboards, Excel documents that don't talk to each other, all of these things. We are in the digital age. It's time to really start to take your business to the next level and think about how digital automations might also be able to help you in your productivity.
It's so funny you say that, Melissa, and I'm not going to say any names, but one of our members, and you know who you are, has told me that they have maybe one calendar on the fridge, one calendar on the wall, one giant calendar at their desk, one calendar in their room, like one calendar on their, on their desk at work. And like they were saying, I really should combine all these into one calendar because everything's different. So it's funny that you say that. Maybe this tip is for you.
Yeah, it's well, and my favorite story is like, you'll have the dispatcher, the admin team that maybe still does the big paper desk calendar. And that's how you're, scheduling all your clients, all your customers, you're writing in pencil, you're erasing when they call back to reschedule, all of that. What happens when she accidentally knocks over her coffee on the desk and there goes your entire week of appointments, right? The other thing that I've heard happen multiple times is, some guys have like a giant whiteboard in their main area where they dispatch all the, the fleet of trucks out. And so like guys come in, they do their morning stand up, they get dispatched out to all their different jobs, they pick up their truck, and then one of them accidentally rubs up on the whiteboard. Okay, well, what happens to those clients, So really starting to think about the places where you're losing time, right? Like how much time is it now going to take to go back into those records and refill those calendars? So yeah, I love that you bring up the, I call those siloed calendars.
Yes.
All right, so moving on, income producing activities. So you've probably heard of IPAs. I'm not talking about a beer. I'm talking about income producing activities. I know. If we ever do this live, I'll have to just have like a case of IPAs in this.
It is Thirsty Thursday.
So really starting to think about what is truly moving the needle forward in your business. So I always like to use the example of rocks, pebbles, and sand. Basically, I call this the sands of time. It sounds like a 80s soap opera, but it's actually a time management hack. So say that this is not a beer, this is a LaCroix. Say that this is your day, right? You have that 24 hours in the day. If you're going to fill this up with sand, that's like the fluffy, frothy stuff, the getting caught on Netflix, the scrolling on Instagram too much, the watching TikTok videos, whatever you're doing at night that's not moving the needle forward. Or throughout your day, right? Getting distracted on social media notifications, things like that. That's really sandy activities. What you want to focus on in your business and in your, just as an employee, like in your job, the things that are moving the needle forward are really the rocks. Those are the big rocks of the day. Those are the income producing activities. So that's collecting payments, that's whatever it is for you, lead generation, right? Maybe you're doing email marketing, or maybe you're doing an in-person event like a conference or a trade show, whatever those things are in your business specifically, those are your income producing activities. And those are the things that go into your day first, because all the other stuff can wait. The pebbles are going to be the things that you can like move to the next day, right? It's okay if you don't, reconcile your QuickBooks back office that day, right? But what do you need to do? You need to call those 3 clients back that left you voicemails while you were on another job, right? And so thinking about income producing activities, what's actually going to drive business, drive income, and drive revenue for your company and for your team and your techs versus the crap that really just doesn't matter. So does that make sense, Taylor?
It does. And so I'm thinking, would you consider like trainings, rocks or pebbles, like training your techs or training, I don't know why I thought that, but I'm, this is very informative. And, if somebody wants to send their, their text to customer service or like project acceptance training or whatever, that could be considered an income producing activity, right?
Yeah, it's like that would probably be more of like a pebble, because pebbles are going to be more of like the inadvertent activities that still have to happen to make sure that your business operates. So that's going to be like reconciling your mileage, your gas, ordering parts, like to have as back stock, stocking the van, stocking the trucks with new stuff that came in,
preparation stuff.
Yeah, training, anything that's like, exactly, preparation, like prep work. Rocks are really anything that's tied to $1. So like if you're getting calls and you're missing calls, that's a huge no-no, right? Because we know that, again, we're in the digital age. I'm a millennial. I think you're a millennial. If you're calling a service provider, if you're calling an electrician, a pest control company, a housekeeper, whoever it is,
Yeah.
you're just going down the list if they don't answer the phone the first time. There's no way, and you know what, that I'm leaving a voicemail or trying to like reach out to them another way. I don't care. I'm going down the Google list and just calling whoever answers the phone first and gives me a good quote, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
mhm.
sorry, I think I think that's a great kind of way to look at it for anybody who's, how do I decipher, a rock versus a pebble situation if they really want to, take this idea and run with it. The pebbles are more indirect ways of how to build your business and, possibly make more money, but directly, like getting paid, like following up, like you said, on those invoices, or, like customer, following up on customer inquiries, and actually making that money.
Yep. Yep. That's the stuff that matter. And then the sand is really like the stuff that just really doesn't matter, that you probably shouldn't be doing anyway. So
The fun stuff. No.
don't fill your day with sand. That is the moral of the story.
I hate sand anyway.
And on that same note, so, okay, also, how do you figure out your rocks, right? So the 80-20 rule is huge. You might have heard of the Pareto principle. Basically, it was this guy back in the 1800s that stated that for most outcomes, roughly 80% of consequences come from 20% of the causes. So you've probably heard 20% of your actions produce 80% of your results. So again, it's like, where do my rocks fit into my day? Am I calling those customers back? Am I answering the calls on the first time? Am I getting great Google reviews so that I rank better on Yelp or Google or wherever I'm listed? Am I following up on, bills that haven't been paid, right? What's actually keeping your business afloat and allowing you to grow and scale and hire new team members and, expand your fleet and everything, versus the stuff that's like just kind of fluffy that you don't really need.
Yeah.
So something to think about for those of you watching, ask yourself, what is actually producing a measurable return on investment, aka ROI, of my time, my money, and my energy? So maybe you're in a season of hiring and you really need to get staffed up and trained. Maybe you're in a season of kind of hitting a lull in your business cycle. Like, I know we're going into winter here soon, like HVAC, typically that's when, it's not super, super busy, or in fall when we have more mild temperatures, right? Homeowners aren't using their heat right now. They're not really using their cooling right now. Things like that, where knowing your business is seasonal too, and knowing where to plug in those things that you have time for.
Yeah. Lucky for our HVAC though, in San Diego, I mean, I'm still using my air conditioning unit at the moment. But yeah, I totally see what you mean.
Yeah, they're just always busy. Yeah, it depends. We at Workiz here, we work with all different types of verticals and companies here in the US and in Canada. And so we have, like back in February, we had the big Texas storms in Oklahoma and Texas. And like, that was just crazy for the industry, right? And then you have, we work with pest control companies. And so summertime is their big thing, right? Because that's when all the bugs decide to come out. So yeah, it's interesting, like the seasonality of work too.
The busy and the slow seasons, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, in San Diego, we're kind of just like constantly busy because so many people live here too.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, really quick too, I always like to throw in this quote. It's a Peter Drucker quote. He's like a big productivity guru. He always says, what gets measured gets improved. So how are you measuring your call quality? How are you big brothering in and listening in for quality assurance purposes to the phone calls that your customer service agents are having with customers? Or even if it's just like, a lot of times at Workiz, we work with a lot of mom and pop shops. So we'll have, the husband that's the tradesman out in the field, and then we'll have the wife or maybe the niece or the sister-in-law running the back office books and admin. How are they answering the phone? Are you having customer service issues? How can you improve your customer experience? Are you texting your customers, right? Again, Taylor and I are millennials. So texting is like huge for me. If you're able to text me with like a one-click payment link and I can just pay you right away and I don't have to worry about writing a freaking check or like mailing an invoice or something, like we're not in 1982. Let's like step into the digital age here, right, Taylor?
Yes.
But I know a lot of companies are like I personally have had a condo here in San Diego for 20 years. So I've used honestly a lot of different members that are in the group here in PHCC. So the ones that can text, I'm always like, yes, okay, that's a win in my book, because I don't need the phone call from your 82-year-old whoever that's telling me, hello, your appointment's tomorrow. Like, I'm not answering those phone calls. I just love a good text message. So helping your customer experience in those ways, auto job scheduling. So making it really easy for your customer, right? Are they able to actually book directly from your Google listing if you're Google guaranteed? Are they actually able to online book through your website? They don't even want to talk to a human. Maybe they're like a Gen Z and they don't even want to call somebody these days. They want to just be able to book right online.
Yes.
And then making the payment process easier, right? Are you accepting credit cards? Hopefully, I mean, in this industry, you kind of have to, especially HVAC. Are you offering financing options? Things like that are going to help you be able to close more sales.
Yes.
So think about what you can improve. And really, that's what today's session is for. It's just to kind of get you thinking of like, where are some opportunities that you're just missing out on in your business? All right. So moving on, Taylor, have you heard of SMART goals?
Yes.
Okay. So some people have, some people haven't, but SMART goals are basically goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely, and or realistic and time bound. There's kind of some different variations. But what I always like to do is set smarter goals. So most people haven't heard of this idea of evaluating and readjusting. So question for you, if it was, New Year's resolution time, it's like December, we're going into the holidays here soon, faster than any of us can probably imagine, time is flying. And I'm about to set my New Year's resolutions and I want to say, okay, Taylor, I want to lose weight. Does that sound like a SMART goal?
No. Well, I mean, that sounds like a very common goal that doesn't really get actualized as a New Year's resolution.
Exactly. It's like the goal that people throw out the window as of like January 5th, right?
Yeah. Well, you go to the gym and it's just packed with people for the first like 2 weeks, and then you just wait a couple weeks and then, oh, it's empty again.
Yeah. And then the parking lot's back to normal.
Exactly. And so it's like, you really need to have kind of some goals in there within your resolution.
Yep. So if I was to come to you and I was to say, I want to lose 30 pounds by April 1st of 2022. I just joined this new gym. I'm going to hire a personal trainer. I hate cooking, so I'm going to outsource to a meal prepping company, and I'm going to track all of my calories in MyFitnessPal. Does that sound like a smarter goal?
Yes, I would say that you're perfect the way you are, but if you are feeling like it's going to be good for you, a good move for you, then that is the best plan ever.
Yeah. Yeah. So I made it specific. I said 30 pounds. I made it measurable, which, again, you can tie to a scale. Attainable, is that realistic? Is it relevant? And then timely. I said by April 1st. So what happens on February 15th when I'm like, I've only lost 5 pounds and clearly I'm not going to hit that 30-pound goal? I would evaluate and I would readjust. So this is constantly what we're doing in business, constantly what we're doing in client homes, right? Maybe you go in to turn off the water valve for the toilet and the whole freaking valve breaks. Okay, well, yeah, now we're definitely evaluating, readjusting, and we're constantly in problem solving mode, right? So it's the same with your goals. You want to make sure that as the business owner, as the employee, you're setting smarter goals. So maybe it's like a sales goal that you have. Maybe you're on in a sales team capacity or in like an admin capacity. You want to start to streamline your payment collection process, or you want to streamline your ad tracking. Maybe you're spending a lot of money on Google and Yelp and all of Thumbtack, all these different resources, but you're not really understanding where that return on investment is going. That's when you really want to step back and set those smarter goals so that you're not just saying, oh, I wish our marketing was better, or, oh, I wish our customer service was better on these phone calls that we're having with customers that we keep losing. Like, that's just wishing on a prayer. That's not really like setting a goal, right?
Yeah. No, and this could even be, it's not necessarily for ROI or the business side, but even, geared towards, the actual projects in the, the client's house to, if there's some sort of specific, more difficult project, like to really kind of measure it out and figure out how to kind of like a plan of attack for it. I think that would be a great kind of way to go. Like, what's the specific problem and how they're going to do it, and then like a timeline, because I think that would be great for a customer to hear. Like,
Yeah.
this is how it's laid out, and this is what we expect. And then when you get to the part, you know, it's still like, all right, well, it almost gains credibility in the customer's eyes. Well, hey, by the way, by this marker, we have not, you know, done what we said, you know, what we thought, but this is what we're going to readjust to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think always coming in, whether you're a tech, whether you're an admin person, whether you're a salesperson, whether you're the business owner, always coming in as the expert, right? You want to be seen with confidence and credibility in the eyes of your customers. You want to walk into their home. You might be, wedding in your pants, like on the inside, and like not really sure what's going to happen. Or you might be walking into a home that's in ill health, right? Like you might be walking into a hoarding home. You might be walking into the home of somebody that's very old. You might, you never know what you're getting into in home services. And so always keeping your calm, keeping your cool, keeping that confidence, keeping that credibility, putting on your expert hat, right? Even if you're not necessarily sure what the heck you're going to do. Like Taylor said, putting the customer's mind at ease that you really have a plan of attack, that you're going to figure it out.
Because even if you don't know right then, you're more of an expert than they are, and they're relying on you. And so just, take a beat and figure it out and make a smart goal, and then make a smarter goal.
I love it. Yep. Okay, so another thing related to SMART goals is also KPIs. Some of you might have heard of this, key performance indicators. So again, we've been talking a lot about how customer experience is key. You want to make sure you're not missing those calls. You want to make sure that you're texting your clients, hey, I'm on my way, or I hit traffic, or our ETA has changed to this time, or whatever. That's my biggest pet peeve as a homeowner, is when somebody says, okay, your service window is 8 to 12, and then it's like 2 o'clock. Yes, I understand that things happen. I understand that jobs go awry. I understand that like this isn't the easiest, industry to be in, because again, stuff can happen at the drop of a hat and like totally mess up your whole day and your whole schedule. But I'm big on communication. And so if I was to get a little text message or a little phone call from that customer, or from that business, that just said, hey, we're so sorry, blah, 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 always apologize, right? I'd be like, oh, okay, no worries. Shit happens, versus like the companies where there's no communication, like I'm probably not going to book that company again, just to be honest,
Yeah. If my DoorDash driver can tell me they're running a little bit late, then my plumber or HVAC technician could probably do the same.
Yes.
Obviously safely, well, not while they're driving, but it'd be really nice to not have to rearrange my day, and then somebody falls through or is not there when I'm expecting them.
Yep. And so starting to think about, okay, who's answering the phone while your main dispatcher's on break, or while, maybe you're running like only a 5-man show right now, or maybe a 10-man show, and you're answering all the phone calls. But what happens when your head's under a sink, or what happens when you're up in an attic somewhere, right? You want to make sure that you have a contingency plan. If people want to take vacation, God forbid, or they, accidentally get sick and they need to have some time off, who's answering the phone? Who is your backup plan? Do you have a call forwarding flow set in place after hours, right? Maybe you're running a 24/7 operation. Who's answering the phone? Do they know that they're supposed to be answering the phone? Yeah. Because, a lot of times, like in flooding, right? Like we get floods, sometimes in the middle of the night. What does that look like? Who's there for the company, representing the company in a professional way at all hours? Starting to think about that and how you can automate that within a system too.
And then another little anecdote. So when I was working, I worked for an oral surgery practice. They had a few locations in North County, San Diego. Before they basically started a call service in the evenings at a certain point when I was working there. And because we decided, there's so many unanswered calls, we come to so many messages at the end of the day, let's try this. So we basically not outsourced out of I think it was in the United States, but basically we had somebody answering calls in the evening, not in the office. And our new patient count went up by like 20%. just by answering those calls after hours when nobody physically was in the office, but somebody was still there answering those calls. We got more people on the schedule, which was, great, and it was totally worth it.
Yeah, I always like to say missed calls equals missed money, right? If you're putting all of those ad dollars into Google and Yelp and Thumbtack and Angie's List and Home Advisor and all these things, and then they're working, right? And people are calling, but then you're not answering the phone. Okay, well then what the heck are you doing? You're like literally throwing your money down the drain. So
all those missed rocks.
Exactly. So, and we chatted a little bit about this earlier, monitoring phone calls, doing call recording, checking in for quality assurance, and also call recording. The thing with this too, that's really good for customer experience is sometimes you'll, you'll have a dispatcher that maybe gives like a quote or an estimate over the phone, or maybe you have a conversation with a customer that asks for 3 things to be done over the phone. And then the tech gets there and then they want 10 things to be done. And the tech doesn't have time because he's stacked with a day of jobs. And you explain, hey, we came here to do this, this, and this. We're happy to reschedule you for these 7 other things. And then they're, no, I asked about this, from the beginning, blah, blah, blah. You're able to actually go back into your records and be cross-check, right? Like, okay, how did that conversation actually go? What did we actually tell them? And not to say that that's, doesn't necessarily like completely solve the customer's anger issue, but at least it keeps your business in integrity of like, hey, we went back to our call records, we did discuss this, things like that, where you're monitoring those KPIs of customer experience from all angles.
Because if you do have a customer service, faux pas, within your business, it's definitely worth addressing too. And, the call recording is good at kind of sussing that out, not saying to be a big brother and listen in, but if you are hearing of if you're getting complaints about something, it's good to be able to go back and listen to it and really assess like, hey, did this person handle it the best? Or is there a way they can approach it differently? Do I need to implement some sort of customer service training? Or is it just, the customer themselves? Because it could be either way. I've been in customer service a long time, and it can be both sides, and it's just good to, like Melissa said, just kind of keep tabs on that, and at least in your heart of hearts that you're doing everything you can.
Yeah. And the same goes for performance management, right? Like within Workiz, we do a lot of integrations with like Gusto that does HR and payroll and like QuickBooks for invoicing and all that good stuff. And that being said, when you're hiring a new team member, you also want to have those same HR type conversations with them, right? So maybe it's a performance management issue. Obviously, we're in tough times right now with unemployment being as high as it is, and consistent stimulus checks, and it's hard to get people back to work. It's hard to find tradespeople right now, and it's hard to find, believe it or not, admin staff right now too. So that being said, if you are having performance issues, this is just another way to really monitor that. Same goes for like this photo that's here on the screen. This guy is texting this woman, hey, I'm on my way. We actually know where the guy is out in the field due to location tracking. So say that you have performance management issues with maybe subcontractors trying to steal work or steal clients, or maybe you have issues with folks clocking in and saying, hey, I started my day at 6 a.m., but actually they were still in bed at 6 a.m. and you can tell based on the location tracking versus them actually being at the house at 6 a.m. like they were supposed to be, right? So things like that where, yes, it does get a little bit big brothery, but as a business owner, sometimes that's what's needed in this day and age.
But it also protects the tech as well. In certain cases, like if they're stuck somewhere or in traffic or whatever, there's that, proof, hey, I was here, or, I was stuck at, this person's house or whatever. So,
yeah.
It goes both ways. It's definitely like another level of kind of protection and just
transparency.
Knowing,
yeah, for sure. So thinking about working smarter and not harder, you've probably heard of this term, right? Work smarter, not harder. Why are you, killing yourself over these tasks that can be automated or these tasks that can be made a lot easier? So like mapping out your routes, right? Route optimization, making sure that you're saving on gas. You're not driving in San Diego. It's a huge county, right? You're not driving from all the way down to the border in Imperial Beach, all the way up to Temecula, and then back down to Coronado, or, you know, like things like that that just don't make sense. And you're wasting time, money, gas, energy, mileage, all the things.
Yes.
Setting timers for the nitty gritty stuff, like maybe your techs have trouble with mileage reporting or with putting in their invoices or closing out jobs, helping your techs to do that time blocking that Taylor and I chatted about earlier, you know, putting those tasks on the calendar, because our days get crazy. Time slips away every single day with like a stacked schedule. So how are you doing the things that have to get done, right? And how are you enabling your team to get those things done? Mm-hmm. And then Taylor, I know earlier you were like, sometimes I set a timer, you know, just to drink water, right? Things like that, where how can you start to like celebrate wins, take breaks, remind yourself to take care of yourself? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I like to put on, you know, because I'll listen like focus music when I'm working. I can't really listen to anything with lyrics, but then, you know, when I'll take a break or, you know, like get up to stretch or whatever, I'll put on like a fun song that I like to have, or, you know, just do something goofy to like break away from the, you know, just being at the desk and, you know, kind of brush off the work vibes for a second. And then it kind of also helps me to go, okay, now let's get back into it with a fresh mind.
Yeah, get more motivated. Yeah, especially as the days get longer. You know, we're about to go into daylight savings and it's about to start getting dark at like 4 o'clock. No. So I know, I wish we could have summer forever, but yeah, things like that where you got to take breaks, celebrate those mini wins, stay motivated, you know, push through the workday, stay productive. So all of that being said, Taylor and PHCCSD have a special gift. So if you want to check out a new system just to explore your call recording options, your customer notification options, map routing options, team timesheet options, all of that good stuff, definitely give Workiz a try. You do get a free 14-day trial with no credit card required. So it's not one of those things where, you know, we're going to take your money right away or we're going to take your credit card right away. We want to make sure that you like it. And if you head to workiz.com/PHCCSD, you can also get 30% off for 3 months. So yay. Thank you,
Awesome.
Taylor.
Yay. Thank you so much. And I will be sending your contact information with this, or I'll make sure it's included. Otherwise, you can find Melisa on our website, www.phccsd.org, under the affiliate members. So just go to the Workiz section and her information is there as well. If you're watching this and there's no contact information provided. But, thank you so much, Melisa. I took some notes. I definitely, I've heard a couple things, but it's always good to be retold these really important aspects to, you know, just working, but also being able to do it efficiently and effectively, and, you know, getting the most out of your day, because then that leaves time for, you know, like there's business side, getting the most out of it, but then that leaves time for yourself, and making sure there's an even kind of flow of that is really important.
Yeah,
so
that work-life balance that seems harder and harder to achieve these days, right?
Oh, especially when a lot of people have been working from home. It's like near impossible, I guess, to do that separation, but it's totally necessary. And I definitely want to implement some more of these here. And I hope members, I hope you got some good stuff out of it. I really did. I think this was great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you guys. All right. Take care.
Bye.